They told everyone I was the ungrateful one, the failure, the burden. But the truth is, I know secrets about them that would burn everything down, and they know I might talk. I'll never forget the way my dad's voice sliced through the air that night. We were all at my uncle's house for his birthday, laughing, eating, catching up with relatives I hadn't seen in years, when suddenly, the entire mood shattered. Out of nowhere, my father leaned back in his chair, locked eyes with me, and said, "You've ruined our lives. You're a burden." The room went dead silent. Forks froze midair, conversations died instantly, and I just sat there, gripping my fork so tightly my knuckles went white. Did he really just say that? Out loud? In front of everyone? I glanced at my mom, hoping she'd step in, maybe tell him to calm down. Instead, she nodded, her face twisted with disgust. And then she added, "You should be grateful we even let you live with us at all." My stomach dropped. Grateful? For what? Paying rent in my own parents' house? Because that's what I'd been doing. Renting a room. Their own son. Meanwhile, my sister Emily got to stay there for free. Not just that, I had been covering internet bills, electricity, even part of the mortgage. For 6 years. 6 years of making sure they were comfortable, and here they were, painting me like some parasite leeching off of them. And the worst part? This wasn't new. My parents had always found a way to make me the villain. If they were broke, it was somehow my fault. If they were stressed, I was the reason. Even as a kid, I never felt like a son, I felt like baggage they regretted having. But this? This was a new low. Dad wasn't done. He leaned forward, his voice sharp, almost gleeful. "Do you have any idea how much stress you've caused us? We had to worry about you all the time. You were never like Emily. She's responsible. She makes good decisions. That's why she deserves to be with us. And you," he actually scoffed. "You've been a weight on our backs since the day you were born." I turned to Emily. She was right there at the table, sipping her drink, scrolling on her phone like none of this was happening. Like I didn't exist. I set my fork down. Slowly. Calmly. And I smiled at her, just a small, bitter smile, before standing up and walking out. No words. No defense. Nothing. Behind me, I heard my uncle mutter, "Okay, that was too much," and one of my aunts tried to calm my parents down. But they kept ranting, voices dripping with venom about how ungrateful I was. I didn't care anymore. I went straight upstairs, into the room I paid rent for, and pulled out the suitcase I kept under the bed. My hand shook, not from sadness, but from rage. Years of it. Years of swallowing it down, convincing myself I had no choice. And then it clicked. I didn't have to take it anymore. I stuffed everything I could into that suitcase, clothes, my laptop, essentials. 10 minutes. That's all I gave myself. I could replace the rest later. I wasn't going to spend another night under that roof. As I zipped it shut, I heard my mom yelling my name from the hallway. I ignored her. I walked right past her, down the stairs, through the dining room where my dad was red-faced, still yelling at my uncle. He spotted me with my suitcase. "Where do you think you're going?" he barked. I didn't answer. I didn't even look at him. I just walked out the front door, got into my car, and drove away. That was it. I was done. Hours later, in a tiny studio apartment I'd found that night, bare walls, a single window, nothing special but mine, I finally sat down. No parents. No yelling. No guilt. And then my phone buzzed. A text from my mom, "Don't come back." I stared at it for a long moment. Then I let out a breath I didn't even realize I'd been holding. For the first time in years, I felt free. But I wasn't finished. At midnight, I picked up my phone and typed one word back, "Okay." Then, calm as ever, I hit record and sent a voice message. "I've been paying your bills for 6 years. You told me not to come back, so I won't. And I won't be covering anything for you anymore. I hope you can handle that. Good luck. Send." I went to bed with a strange sense of peace. But by morning, my phone was blowing up, 50 missed calls, endless texts. Mom, Dad, Emily, even relatives. Voicemails I didn't bother to check. Then another message appeared on my screen. "Where do you live? We need to talk." And that's when I knew, this fight was far from over. I let the phone ring. Over and over. I wasn't in a rush to hear whatever nonsense they had to spew. By noon, the missed calls had ballooned to 73. My voicemail was full. My text inbox looked like a slot machine that wouldn't stop spitting out garbage. The first messages were predictable. "You ungrateful brat. You can't do this to your family. You owe us after everything we've done for you." Then came the guilt trips. "We raised you, fed you, gave you a roof over your head, and this is how you repay us? Your dad is so stressed he's shaking. Please, we just want to talk. Let's work this out." And then, the relatives started chiming in. My Aunt Franklin, they're in full panic mode. Just talk to them. My cousin, dude, they're freaking out. They're trying to figure out where you live. My uncle, call me. This is getting out of hand. I sat there, staring at my phone, and it finally clicked, my parents weren't just mad. They were desperate. And that terrified me more than anything. Then Emily's message came through, and it made my stomach twist into knots. "They're trying to pull your credit reports. Be careful." "What?" I shot back, "What the hell do you mean?" A minute later, she replied. "Mom asked me for your social security number last night. I told her I didn't know it. But I think they're digging into your financial info." My blood went cold. Because here's the thing, when I still lived with them, they had access to everything. My mail, old paperwork, even some online accounts they helped me set up when I was a teenager. If they were trying to check my credit, it meant one thing, they weren't looking for me because they missed me. They wanted to know how much money I had left, and how much they could still bleed from me. And that's when I slipped up. I made a huge mistake. I texted back, tell them to back off. Not 5 minutes later, my phone lit up. Mom. For reasons I can't explain, curiosity, stupidity, maybe some buried part of me still craving closure, I answered. The second I said hello, her voice erupted through the speaker. Where the hell are you? I pulled the phone away from my ear. What do you want? I asked flatly. Her scream was raw, ragged. How dare you do this to us? You think you can just walk away and cut us off? You owe us. I stayed silent. Do you even realize what you've done? She shrieked. We can't pay our bills, Franklin. We're screwed, because of you. And that's when it hit me. This wasn't about me leaving. This wasn't about family ties or guilt or even love. They weren't panicking because they missed me. They were panicking because their entire lifestyle depended on me, and I had pulled the plug. Finally, I spoke. My voice was calm. You told me not to come back. I'm just doing what you wanted. Silence. Then, as if someone flipped a switch, her tone shifted. Sweet. Fake. Sickly. Honey, listen, let's just talk. We can work this out. We can make a deal. Where are you? We'll come over. Just tell me where you are. I almost laughed. And just like that, the mask slipped again. You think you're smart, don't you? We will find you. Click. I hung up. My hand was trembling as I stared at the screen. This wasn't normal behavior. Then Emily texted again. Mom and Dad just left the house. I think they're on their way to find you. My chest tightened. How? They don't know my address, I typed. Her reply came fast. They have your old mail. They know the area. I heard Mom on the phone with someone. I think they hired a private investigator. I froze. A private investigator? My own parents? I looked around my tiny apartment. Blinds shut. Doors locked. But suddenly, none of it felt safe enough. I called Emily immediately. She picked up, whispering. Tell me everything, I said. She sighed. Mom called some guy last night. I didn't hear it all, but she said something about needing address verification. She was digging through a bunch of your old mail. I think she's also trying to get into your bank stuff. My chest constricted. If they had my old mail, they could have bank statements, maybe even my old lease info. How long ago did they leave? I asked. About 20 minutes. I think they're just driving around, looking for you. I started shoving things into a bag. Emily, listen. If they ask, you don't know where I live. She scoffed. Duh. But, look, I didn't say this before, but you really pissed them off this time. Dad punched the wall last night. Mom was crying, something about revenge. I don't think they just want to talk. I froze mid-step. Revenge? Before I could ask anything else, my phone buzzed. An unknown number. Emily gasped. That could be them. They might have given your number to someone. Be careful. I didn't answer. Then a text from that same number appeared on my screen. You need to come home so we can sort this out. We will find you either way. Chills shot down my spine. I texted Emily, if they ask you anything, play dumb. I need time to figure this out. Got it, she replied. I grabbed my purse and keys. If they were really coming after me, I had to be smarter, faster. First stop, the bank. When I got there, I walked straight to the teller and asked to update everything, mailing address, security questions, all of it. Then, trying to keep my voice steady, I asked, has anyone tried to access my account recently? The teller typed for a few seconds, then frowned. Yeah. Someone called yesterday, pretending to be you. They asked for balance information. We denied them because they didn't have the right security response. My stomach turned to ice. It was them. I changed everything, new passwords, new alerts, two-factor authentication. As I walked out of the bank, my phone rang again. Mom. I ignored it. Then another text came through. We're close. My pulse spiked. I spun around, scanning the parking lot. Then another buzz. A photo. It was my car. A blurry shot, but clearly mine. They had found me. My heart pounded so hard I could hear it in my ears. I whipped my head around, searching the lot. No faces I recognized. No car I could pick out as theirs. But someone, was watching me. I shoved my phone into my pocket and walked fast. I had to get out of there. I jumped into my car, slammed the lock button, and twisted the key in the ignition. My hands were trembling so badly I could barely grip the steering wheel. As I backed out of the parking lot, I caught a glimpse in my rearview mirror, and that's when I saw it. A black SUV. Parked at the far edge of the lot. The second I pulled out? So did they. They were following me. I forced myself to breathe. Stay calm. Don't go home. I drove like nothing was wrong, steady, casual, though my pulse was hammering in my throat. I made random turns, stretched the route out, anything to see if they'd break off. But no. Every time I checked my mirror, the SUV was still there. Fine. They wanted to play games? I could play too. Up ahead, a gas station glowed under harsh fluorescent lights. At the last second, I flicked on my blinker and pulled in. The SUV slowed, then rolled in right behind me. I parked at a pump, cut the engine, and climbed out like I was going to fill up. But instead of grabbing the gas nozzle, I strolled toward the convenience store, casual as ever. And as I passed the SUV, I risked a glance inside. My stomach dropped. Dad was in the passenger seat, his face twisted in pure rage. Behind the wheel sat a man I'd never seen before. Mid-40s, bald, built like a linebacker, eyes scanning the lot like he was running security detail. His hands gripped the wheel tight, steady, controlled. Who was this guy? I ducked into the store, grabbed a random snack, paid cash, and kept my eyes locked on them through the glass window. They didn't move. Didn't even step out of the car. They were just waiting. I pulled out my phone. Dad is following me. He has some guy with him. Do you know who it is? Emily texted back instantly. Oh my god, that's Uncle Ray's friend. He does sketchy stuff. Like, not legal. I think he's basically a bill collector or something worse. My jaw clenched. Not legal? Bill collector? What the hell were my parents dragging me into? I shot back, tell me everything you know about him. Now. Her reply came fast. All I know is he helps people with money problems. But it's shady. Trust me, if he's with Dad, this isn't good. My stomach twisted. I walked out of the store, head down, and climbed back into my car. I didn't even start the engine right away. I just sat there, thinking. If they were willing to bring in some thug to intimidate me, then this wasn't about talking. This was about control. Fear. Maybe worse. My phone buzzed. A new message. From Dad. Come home now and we'll forget this ever happened. Keep playing games and things will get messy. Messy. That word rattled around in my brain like a warning bell. I exhaled slowly, turned the key, and pulled out. The SUV followed again, close this time. Too close. Okay, I thought. You want to chase? Let's do this. I cut right, then left, weaving through traffic, accelerating harder than I should have. They kept up, but they weren't fast enough. And then I saw it. A police station. Without hesitation, I swung into the lot and parked right in front of the entrance. The SUV slowed, hovered for a second, then, like cowards, kept driving. That's what I thought. But my relief didn't last long. Sitting there in the glow of the police station lights, I realized something. They weren't done. They were testing me, pushing me, trying to see how far they could go. And if they wanted war? I was ready. I texted Emily, they just followed me. I lost them at the police station, but it's not over. She responded immediately. I heard Mom on the phone again. They're freaking out. Dad's furious you ran. I smirked. Good. Let him be mad. But then she sent another text that made my stomach drop. Franklin, they're planning something worse. Mom told Dad, if we can't scare him, we'll make sure he has no choice but to come back. No choice. I texted back, what does that mean? Her reply, I don't know. But they're talking to a lawyer. A lawyer. Suddenly, it clicked. My name was still tied to some of their accounts. When I was younger, they convinced me to co-sign for things, credit cards, a car loan, promising they'd handle it. What if they were trying to use those against me now? I didn't waste a second. I went straight to the bank. At the counter, I told them I needed to be removed from any joint accounts and to freeze all suspicious activity. The teller typed, frowned, then said, there was an attempt to take out a large loan in your name yesterday. I went cold. Was it approved? No. They failed the security questions. But they tried more than once. I clenched my jaw so hard it hurt. They weren't just harassing me. They were trying to financially trap me, back me into a corner so I'd have no choice but to crawl back. Not happening. I shut everything down, froze accounts, updated passwords, added fraud alerts. As I left the bank, my phone buzzed again. Emily, Mom and Dad are freaking out. The bills didn't get paid this month and they just noticed. I laughed out loud. Oh, now they're panicking? But then she texted again, Franklin, be careful. Mom mentioned filing something against you. I think they're talking about eviction. Eviction. Even though I'd already left, they could still file, claim I owed them for breaking some kind of lease, drag my credit through the mud, even blacklist me from renting. I texted back, find out exactly what they're doing. Now. I'll try, she replied. But Franklin, they're really losing it. I didn't go home. I went straight to a lawyer. I laid everything out, 6 years of paying their bills, them charging me rent while my sister lived for free, the fraud attempts, the harassment, the stalking. The lawyer leaned back in her chair, took it all in, then said, if they try to evict you after you've moved out, it won't hold up in court. And if they've attempted fraud in your name, you have grounds to press charges. That was all I needed to hear. For the first time in weeks, I felt lighter. Protected. But as soon as I left her office, my phone buzzed again. Emily, Franklin, they're losing it. They're telling Grandma you stole from them. And now, they know where you live. My chest tightened. How? I texted back. I don't know, she replied. But they just left the house. Dad's raging. Mom's crying. They said they're going to make you pay. I didn't panic. I was ready for this. I parked a block from my apartment and waited. 20 minutes later, the black SUV rolled up. Dad, Mom, and the bald guy climbed out and stormed up to my door. I pulled out my phone and hit record. I know you're in there, Franklin. Dad's voice roared. Do you think you can just walk away from this family? Mom's sobs cut through the night. You can't do this to us. We need you. The bald guy just stood there, arms folded, scanning the street. Then Dad snapped. He kicked the door hard, the sound echoing like a gunshot. I grinned. Got you. That was destruction of property. I called the police. 10 minutes later, red and blue lights lit up the block. And suddenly, my parents changed their tune. Mom collapsed into tears, playing the victim. Dad tried to twist the story, claiming I had stolen from them, abandoned them. But I stepped forward, phone in hand. Officers, I don't live here anymore. They've been stalking me, harassing me, even tried to break in. I have proof, texts, threats, attempted fraud. And now? Video of my father kicking my door. The cops turned to my parents. Sir, ma'am, you need to leave. Now. Dad's face went scarlet. He's our son, he owes us. The officer shook his head. No, he doesn't. And if you try this again, you'll be arrested for trespassing. The bald guy didn't say a word. He just climbed back into the SUV. Mom's face crumpled. But we raised him. The cop cut her off. That doesn't entitle you to his money. And just like that, it was over. They left. Humiliated. That night, Emily texted me, they're still ranting, but I think they finally get it. They're done. She was right. For the first time in years, I was free.